folks, welcome back. This is your old pal Hondo doing another video for you on the Zebco 33 Rhino Tough. This is from 1989. If you have one of these old Rhino Tough reels, I will show you how to disassemble it and reassemble it and how to clean it for maintenance purposes. So if you have one of these old reels laying around, I highly recommend you buy these old reels. They're really good. They're made in America. And they're pretty good. I mean, you can get them to 25 to 15 bucks at a flea market without the box, but with the box and the instruction manual, if you're just using it as a collector's item, you might spend 40 bucks on one. But highly recommend you get them. If you see them, I've already disassembled this one and cleaned it, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyways, because there's not a lot of videos on these old reels on how to do these. So I'm going to start doing videos in case you guys are collectors and want to take these apart. I'll show you how to do it. Right here, as you can see, we're going to take it apart, show you how to do it. First thing you want to do with this reel is twist off the spinner cone protector. This is the spinner cone cover. Take that off. Second thing you want to do is to take off the spinner cone itself. This is what they call spinner. One pickup pin these had. Traditionally, these older ones had one pickup pin. As you can see, I don't know how good the video quality is. My old camera broke on me, so I'm using my camcorder to do this. So sorry about the video quality. Right here is the bait runner. That way, anti-reverse bait runner, whatever you want to call it. Switch, you hit that, and right here it makes it click while you're either reeling. Hear the clicking noise, or you put it in anti-reverse when you have bait out there for cat fishing, so the fish can take it. A bigger fish can take it. What you want to do here is you want to take off the spinner cone by holding the handle down like so, and just counterclockwise. The spinner cone comes right off. Has one pickup pin. Right here, as you can see, is the base of the reel. This little plastic piece has to be put back on this way when you take it off. And once you take that off, you want to take off the handle now at this point, because you only need the handle on to take the spinner cone off. Take a size 10 wrench, hold the handle down with your hand if you can, like this, and then pop the handle off by going lefty-loosey, righty-tighty type of thing. And once you get it to a certain point, you can unscrew this by hand. It's loose. Take it off, put it in a small bowl or something like that. Then you can remove the handle from the reel. I highly recommend you, if you guys buy these, any type of enclosed reel, push button reel, or spin cast reel, to use nothing but monofilament on it. Braid will destroy this. It will leave like a cut right here in the spinner cone. Right there near the hole where the pickup pin goes, right there. And what that does over time will wear your line out and make you lose fish. And you'll have to replace the spinner cone. But don't be using braid on these older reels. Maybe a newer reel that you can still buy parts for, but you can't buy parts for these reels anymore. You'd have to find the exact type of reel to fix this if it breaks in the field. So remember that. Now at this point, you want to take a Phillips head screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, and take off this little pin here. Don't take much force to take it out. Little pin here just removes the pin. You just, put it right here, remove the pin, and it comes right off. Put it in a bowl somewhere. At this point, you can take off this little plastic piece. Take that off, and the spool will come right out with the drag. There's a drag that goes right here in this little spot right here. There's a little like flathead screwdriver looking spot that has to be turned to that direction in order to put that drag brake back in there, that drag washer back in there. And this right here lays on, like right here on the spool, there's a small Teflon plastic brake with a metal washer that has to go upside down in that order to put this spool back on top of the drag. Very simple. There's not very many moving parts on this. At this point, once you get to this point right here, You don't have to do no more. That's pretty much it when you're about to clean this reel. Now, at this point, once you got all the bells and whistles off the front of the reel, it makes it to where you can take off the back plate. Sometimes these back plates can be stuck, and these covers can be stuck on the reel. Don't threat. If that happens, stick it in the freezer for a couple hours, and these should come popping right off after you put it in the freezer for a couple hours. You take off the back plate, and right here you'll see the inner workings of the gears. Very simple reel. This wasn't like the 1982 one I did a review on. Right here is the wheel gear and the pinion gear. Now right here on the side, you can take all this out. It's easy. You have to first pull this pin here with a pair of pliers. There's a little plastic pin here that you just grab a hold of it like so right here and just pulls it right out. Pull that out, and right here is the anti-reverse switch. You want to pull that out. There's a right here on top of it. You want to turn it to where it shows the little clip right here where you can push it in, and you can take like a small screwdriver punch and push it like right on top of it right there. And I don't know how good quality this is to push it through, and then you once you push it through, you can pull the anti-reverse switch out. Then you're gonna have to pull the bait clicker switch out by just twisting it out, pulling it out. If it doesn't come out like that, you can do the same thing right here. There's like a little mechanism right on top of it, like right there. You put your little wrench on top of it, very fine wrench, and push it out like so, and it'll come straight out like that. At this point, after you get that out and everything else out, you can pull out the right here behind the wheel gear is a small little metal piece which is called the anti-reverse brake, and you pull it out. There's a little slot that goes right here where it goes. This is what it looks like. It looks like a little R. You pull that out, and then right on top of the wheel here, there's like a little mechanism right here that goes into it. You pull it out. It's better if you had pliers to do it, but it comes right out. This rides right here in between the back of the wheel gear, right there. It's like this little round piece. Now, when you put it back in the slot, you're going to have to put it in this way. I mean, I'm trying to show it to you the best I can. Right here, it goes in like this, and it goes together like this, back into that slot on the back of the wheel. What happens is whenever you hit that anti-reverse switch, it trips this to keep it from going forwards to backwards, and then when you trip the switch over, it locks the wheel into place. It goes back together like, I don't know how good I can show you this. It goes back together like this, you know what I mean? So it goes into that little slot when you put it back in. At that point, you can get inside the center of the reel now. Right here's the center of the reel, and now you can pull the center pinion gear out. Once you do that, basically that's all you need to do, really. You can't pull this stupid center gear out. You're going to have to leave that in when you clean it. Now, the way you want to clean this is you want to put it in a bowl. All these parts right here you see in front of you, you put them all in a bowl besides the washer. You wipe this one off by hand, the washer and plastic washer, and this the drag, you can wipe that off by hand and re-grease it. And you want to put this in like a bowl with the other parts. Clean it. You can wipe this out by hand as well if it's bad. This one right here, if it's bad on the inside, you can take like a rag and just wipe it out like that, and just put a little bit of grease on the end of that little tip that touches the pinion gear. That makes it to where you can cast it. You know, you just want to wipe all the dirt out of there after you spray it with WD-40 in the bath. You put this spinner head in there too. You take a toothbrush and clean it out. You take a wire brush like this one here to clean off the gears and the gear wheel on the inside of the reel. When you spray WD-40 on it, use like a type of reel cleaning oil, or a WD-40 to do that. And then after you do that, you want to you want to put like a dab of grease on that and the center pinion gear. Put grease on the gear wheel and this one, and you pour a little bit of oil down on the inside to hit that ball bearing on the inside, so it has a little bit of oil on the ball bearing on the inside, because this is a 1 ball bearing reel. By doing that, you just take like regular oil like this and drip it down 1 drop on that bearing, and that's all it takes. That's all the oil you need. You also oil this little drag right here too by dripping some oil in here and on the other side where the as you can see right here, a little screw. You drip oil on that, and that'll keep your drag from seizing up, because if your drag seizes up, it'll strip your gears and ruin the drag on your reel. Now, if you want to reassemble this reel, it's very easy to do. First, you take the pinion gear that you pulled and put it back in the center of the reel right here, as you can see. Make sure it's in there good, and then you move the gear around, that it's moving freely with no crunchiness. If it starts to get crunchy, something up with that. After you put that in, you want to put your R-shaped anti-reverse switch in this little slot back behind the gear here. This way. You have to put it in this way. You try to put it in there in any other way, it's not going to work. Once you put it in there like so, you put this little gear on the back of the wheel like so, on the back of the wheel gear here, behind, in between the space, and it clicks right in like that. As you can see, it goes right back on. Now, the tricky part is to try to move this R gear out backwards, and you want to take a small little tool to push the mechanism back into place. You'll see it'll go back into place, and once it does, you got it right. Move this a little bit out of the way, push that gear back in there like so until it goes behind that gear, and you basically got it right. So that's right now. You want to check it, you just move it around until it stops. Right now it doesn't have the anti-reverse switch back in it, and that's what we're going to replace next. The way you want to put the anti-reverse switch back in is in this way. I don't know if you can see it. It's this way. You put it in that way, and the side of the reel right here, located in this hole here. Put it back in like that, and it should go riding over the gear like that, and lock it into place to where it won't move. And you want to test that, you can take the handle and put it on there to test to see if the anti-reverse is working. It's working. Flip the switch and move it backwards to forwards, and it's not grabbing the back of the gear. That means the anti-reverse is working properly. You just want to make sure that reel's moving well. That's out of the way. Now we're going to replace this little plastic clip that goes in between the reel this way in here, and you just push it back in by hand, and that keeps the reel from moving around, the gears from moving around. And at that point, you have to replace the little clicking mechanism in this hole right here on the side. It's very easy. You want to basically push it in like there until it's got a little arrow indicator. You want to have it pointing up in between the frame of the reel, and push it back in and push it forwards, and it locks it back into place. So now that's all done. Once you get this part done, you can basically stick the back cover back on it. As you can see right here on the frame, the graphite frame of the reel, there's a little notch, and there's a little like indentation on the reel. You have to line that up with the trigger mechanism right here and push it in like so, and then twist it counterclockwise back over until it pops. Until it pops, you're good to go. Now at this point, the back cover is replaced on the reel. Now at this point, you could put the handle back on the reel. There's little 2 washers that come with the handle. You put them on the handle crank screw. Put that back on there like so. Put the handle back on. Put the nut back on the handle by tightening it up by hand first, and then tightening it up with the wrench all the way. Take the wrench and just tighten up the handle, righty-tighty, and you don't want it too tight. You don't want to strip the thread. So that's tight enough. As you can tell, it's working really well. I've already cleaned this reel once. Now we're going to replace the upper part of the reel, which is easy to do. Now you want to make sure this the drag switch right here is in the opposite direction. That when you lay that drag washer back in there, it's going to fall into place just right, because there's a little notch underneath the drag washer right here that goes into that spot right here. See the little notch right there? That falls into that little flathead screwdriver spot right there when you push it back on there. Now at this point you may want to put oil on that washer, rub some oil on there, or put some grease on that washer and around that whole base of that reel, so the reel is really lubricated. And what you can do is take some Vaseline and take a little glob of it on your finger and just go like this with it, on top of that drag, like that, on top of there. And then once you do that, you want to lay this metal washer first on top. Right here is a metal washer. This little metal washer right here goes on top of that, like so, on the reel. Push it down on there. Then you take the little plastic piece, and you can rub oil on that as well, grease on that as well. When you get to that point, you take your spool. You can take your spool at this point, since there's line everywhere, and you can put some grease or oil on this spool here by taking your finger, get some of that Vaseline, just work it in there like that. Helps lubricate it so it doesn't grind the drag out. Now you'll hear this noise. That will actually let you know the drag is working properly. Now after that, you put a little bit of Vaseline on that as well, and put this on top of the reel. This little plastic piece goes on top, and you take your clip, this little clip, stick it on top of there. Sometimes it'll go hand tight, sometimes it won't. You put it on there just with your fingernail. It goes on fairly easy. You can do it with a wrench. Sometimes it gets stuck on there pretty bad, so you need something to help you guide it into place. And this clip will go on really easy. Just push it into place here, and it goes right in, and there you go. At this point you could pull the line and hear if the drag's working. You could loosen it up. As long as the drag is clicking, you know it's working right. Loosen it up all the way. You get less friction. That means it's working. Tighten it up all the way. You want to hear that click, and you also want to feel it tight. Okay, the drag's good. And now at this point, we got the handle on. You can stick the spinner cone back on the reel. You want to put a little bit of grease behind that little pickup pin right there. That way it has something to help it. You take like a glob of Vaseline on your finger and put it like that on the tip right there, and that'll help it go out real easy. Because sometimes a lot of people don't grease that, and if you don't grease that, you'll have issues with the spinner, the pickup pin not working right and grabbing the line right. And that's what a lot of people have problems with, because they don't put a little bit of grease on that spot. That has to be constantly greased, especially when you service this reel. After that, you just hold the handle like that to tighten it up. You don't want to tighten it up too much. You tighten it too much, you'll break the pinion gear, and you won't be able to take the spinner head back off. So you hold the handle and tighten it up, and then you put the comb back on it and twist it, and that's basically all the maintenance you need to do with these reels. I hope y'all like this video on the Zebco 30, how to disassemble and clean a Zebco 33 Rhino Tough from 1989. It's a really good reel. I highly recommend you folks buy these. They're good for kids, good for adults. I still use them. I love them. I can't get enough of them. It's the reason why I like this reel so much. I use it all the time. Highly recommend you to get one of these old reels over buying a new one, because the metallurgy in them are a lot better quality in the spinners than the newer Chinese ones. I think the newer Chinese ones are a little bit better than the mid-2000s import Chinese ones that were coming in to replace the American versions. These were made in Brunswick, New Jersey. Originally they were made in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The 0 Hour bombers, the 1960s reels, were made in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay folks, if you like this video, please hit the like, share, and subscribe, and tell me what you think. Sorry about the video quality. Hope you all liked the video on the disassemble of the Zebco 33 Rhino Tough reel. If you like the video, leave a comment. Y'all take it easy. Y'all know what you can do. You put God first. He puts you first every time. You know what else? YouTube, God loves you. So does Hondo. Peace out.
Tell me pretty lies. Look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.